What's up, everybody? Welcome into today's mailbag edition of the show. It's that time of the week. Great questions from our founders chat. We have great questions from our Substack chat. It's loaded, as is always the same thing, with great questions from you guys who support us at the site. If you yourself would like to get a question into us that is guaranteed to be answered, you are going to be able to do that by joining us at Browns Film Breakdown. We will answer your questions and give you the priority you deserve for supporting us and helping us build out and make great content. Quick reminder to make sure you're following us on TikTok, Instagram, giving the YouTube a subscription as well. Smash the like button and subscribe button if you're watching it there. We greatly appreciate it as we churn out Browns content, continue to give some specific things exclusively to YouTube, but then also want to urge you to come over and maximize that experience at the website. And if you were on the podcast version of this, make sure you give us a 5-star written review. That always helps Browns fans find us. We appreciate you guys greatly, no matter how you're consuming this content. So let's get going with the latest Browns Film Breakdown mailbag, brought to you by Monfredi Dental and FanDuel Sportsbook.
Welcome into Browns Film Breakdown Week 7 Mailbag Edition. Fired up to do it. We've got Founders Chat questions. We've got questions from the Substack chat. It's Brad and Jake and Brad, bringing you the mailbag, brought to you by FanDuel. All right, let's dive in right away like we always do this time of week. Jake, Founders Channel, Sean Kitco. I think we're going to get a lot of these tonight, Jake. Do you, Jake and Brad, personally want to see a change at head coach? What are the pros and cons of doing so?
No, but I hope nobody wants to see a change. I would like for Kevin to get it figured out. I just understand the idea of if things are internally unhealthy, which we don't know on the outside. Like I can break this down simply or very detailed for people. I'm very worried about the inability to game plan an offense that feels like, okay, let me put it this way. When I watched like Pittsburgh and Minnesota play, I had an exact feel for what they were trying to do. I knew it immediately, what they were chasing, the way they were trying to alleviate best players on the defense. Like, I don't get that vibe enough from the Browns. Like, they don't feel like they attack certain people. They don't feel like they have run schemes to get to that are creative and can yield them some results, especially in key moments. I feel like the primary reads on offense are often boring and lazy and don't render proper results. I feel like they don't have a fantastic, not fantastic, not the right word. I don't feel like they have a good plan with motion that is specifically detailed for how they're trying to get a play to be accomplished. So enough, at least. So
creating an advantage or anything.
My biggest concern is I don't think I believe in Kevin, the offense leader. And if I don't believe in Kevin, the offense leader, while also recognizing it can probably be worse, I get that. But just because it could be worse doesn't mean you shouldn't chase the idea that there could be something better. So I understand that. It's a matter of, if everybody in the building believes and is bought in, and there's a huge, belief inside there that everything's going to keep getting better and all that, then that's different. But I think when, we only have maybe 40% of the puzzle outside looking in, and that's where internally you're trusting people to make the right choices. So do I want to see a change? I think the way of saying want to see, I'm interested in a change is how I would say it. I'm interested in there being the idea that there's somebody better to lead this offense. I don't know about lead the team, but I'm not opposed to the idea that there could be a better leader for this team too. So the pros and cons are, you can hopefully find someone who improves upon the processes that are here and the buy-in, the belief, the effort, but there's also the cons are like changing schemes and players getting washed out because they don't fit that, or what a coach or what a previous regime was doing when new GMs come in or new head coaches come in. I didn't, want that player. So ship him out for pennies on the dollar. That's how you get the Jordan Poyers of the world thriving in other places. So that's the stuff you want to eliminate, but that's also just part of the process you can't hide from. It's going to happen sometimes.
I think I would say I don't want to see a coaching change, but it may be necessary. Like, I've come to the realization that it may be necessary at this point. I like Kevin as a person. I like him as our coach, but he's just not getting the job done at this point. Now, he's got a critical 5 weeks in front of him, a critical game on Sunday. that could kind of change the narrative around some of this stuff. So we'll continue to watch. But I would preferably like to continue with continuity that is in place if they can find success doing it. However, that is what you ultimately have to. I mean, I don't think anybody wants, at least I don't want to get rid of Kevin if he can do the job. That's the question. So,
Yeah, I've just slowly lost faith in the he can get the job done part of it. And
Yeah.
I don't think that's crazy
I'm with you.
considering the results we've seen for 2 straight seasons, right?
It's very fair. Very fair. I'm right there with you. I guess just answering the question the way it was phrased, like, yeah. All right, Deveroth, question 2. What do you need to see from AB and Stefanski to feel confident in them guiding the ship into next year? You're gonna get a lot of these tonight.
Probably continued quality growth from the rookie class helps. Nothing really else other than like maybe making a couple savvy trades to pick up a couple pieces here and there for AB. I mean, most of AB's stuff is in place here.
Yeah.
Stefanski is probably winning. This is probably winning. Yeah. I don't think there's and the offense not being flatlined would be great. You know, that's a little bit of the bummer about the weather coming this weekend is like you don't get that proper evaluation you really want to get because it might be madness up there. But I do think the offense showing a pulse and winning some ball games would go a long way for him. I mean, that's it. What else can we ask for?
Yeah, I think you can also ask for winning in a way that gives you some confidence about them moving forward too. I mean, they can win some of these games against some of these worser teams, lesser teams, pardon me, and not look good on offense still. And I think that would still be problematic.
No, I'm with you. The offense cannot continue on the current path. I think if you think that's kind of crazy for me.
That's it from the Founders Chat today. We're moving on. Substack chat, let's go. Todd Trout in the offense. What is more important at this time? Executing their assignments or creativity? We would like both, but what would you fix first?
Probably creativity. I think there are a lot of young guys playing, so it feels to me like there's going to be some uneven outcomes on the executing of those assignments, but some creativity would be really nice. Obviously, you'd love both, but if I'm picking one, probably an offense that can find a way to spring some guys wide open would be nice. You know, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good question. I see where they're coming from. I'd probably lean like, oh, I see what the play caller's trying to do. I see how simple they're trying to make it, or I see how they use this to build to that, right? You know, so I think that's just a more tangible thing. Let me put it that way. Executing assignments and who's responsible for that, Todd, is tricky sometimes, right? Is that coming from the position coach doing their job? Whereas the offense development, the concepts, the application of the concepts, the timing of the concept called, all is rendered from the leader of the offense, which is Kevin, which you're kind of, we're all very much analyzing every week.
Yeah. I think for me, something that you said to me about these guys not being ass kickers and at times, and some of what we've seen on film where just stuff is sloppy and it's not. And then something I heard Joe Hayden say over the past few days about the accountability that Mike Tomlin puts in Pittsburgh, and kind of combining those two statements has really kind of had me in a place where I'm really fearful that he's lost this locker room. So I think if I would just see on an effort level, like a team spirited, you would see it. You would know it if they're still bought in, I think.
There's a little concerning that that dirty hit that Gage Larvadain took, nobody came to run in and do anything about that. That kind of little effort stuff, just the little things where you got your teammates back makes you
Yeah.
turn your head. So pay close attention to that stuff.
There's no doubt. All right. Clint's up next. To me, it seems like the beginning of the end was when Alex Van Pelt was let go to satisfy Watson. I've noticed they used to do well in the first quarter, and KS had a good record after a loss. Do you see any of these real differences on tape or without ABP?
I don't. I think if Alex Van Pelt was that good at this, he would have an OC job immediately, right? If the coaching staff got fired last year, we see how much improvement Drake May is making this year. I think AVP's fine. He's a nice dude and probably did contribute to some good ideas and concepts and stuff to use. But I think that's just reaching. Like, we just want to reach back to when it was working. And that's what it feels like we're hungry for. Whereas you got to zoom out on that and look at the age of the players, look at the performances of Nick Chubb at the time, and just like, and I agree with, like, I think the undoing was trying to fit this into a world Watson was more comfortable last year and not understanding that the primary usage of the stuff that Watson was comfortable with was completely misguided, in my opinion. So, and it obviously wasn't something they were able to teach and execute to their guys. That's the issue. But now you've gone back away from it, and everybody's a little older. Everybody's, just not as hungry, maybe is the way to put it, in the upfront group. They're just not winning the line of scrimmage the same way anymore. And when that happens, it's downhill quick, man. Good offensive lines go to bad offensive lines quick. I mean, I'm not saying Philly is. They just could figure it out, but that group's not performing well over there either. Like, there's some teams that have good offensive lines perceptionally, and they just don't get it done sometimes. Yeah. And that seems to be the trend line of this season's bad offense performances. And then you add in all the limitations at skill positions, and it's not hard to see why they can't score 20 points.
I would agree that the beginning of the end was the pivot away from what they did well, which coincided with the release of AVP and all that stuff, and the move towards Watson, sort of. But I don't think it had anything to do with AVP individually.
No. Yeah, I agree.
David Williams. I, like many, didn't think Dylan was as rough as he was until I rewatched and saw the breakdown. What do we need to see from him, and how his short leash until desperation hits Sanders QB1 levels? Sorry.
I know you and Peter were on this last night, and that's fine. I think it's okay if we see this stuff differently. I mean, can we let Dylan play 5 games? Can we let him play a little bit? I think it's like, I want Shador to get a chance too. It probably happens maybe, I don't know, sooner than later. I just think that, like, I understand where people are coming from with, like, I see it. I can't figure out how this dude becomes this. I get that. I do. I don't live in fantasy world here either, but there are some encouraging moments that happen here and there, while also recognizing the absolute laser on the forehead that his coach put him in last week. And also the Brian Flores. Can we see him play some defenses that aren't Flores and Tomlin?
Yeah.
Can we just give him a chance to breathe when, like, I understand there's a hunger for Shador to get, like, I want to know if he's the guy too. Everybody wants to know if there's an answer. I'm just like, if Dylan plays bad across the next, like, 3 games against teams that are not as good as who they faced, it's a very fair point. We're at the breaking point of, like, okay, let's give Shador a chance if he's ready to play. But that's like, he's a 3rd round pick, and we're going to put him up against 2 awful, like, situations. And I understand people aren't being nefarious. We all want better quarterback play. But, like, I just would like to give him a little bit of time, give him a couple chances to have a neutral playing field that when you're not expecting. And that's the same thing that's going to happen with Shador, where it's like, oh, we're expecting Shador to prop up this offense if we're going to continue the status quo of what Kevin's been doing. And it's like, good luck. Good luck, man. Good luck to it. So I
don't think that. I think people just want to see him maybe push the ball down the field a little bit more and be a little bit more aggressive.
Which could happen. It's all moving very fast. It's early. His tackles have stunk. Like if he gets a little more in the pocket because things slow down, Miami doesn't disguise enough. Yeah, it could happen. But I think like to me, I would just think like a 5-game sample. If we're talking he does, this weekend
I
sucks for
think the
that
bye week.
process. Yeah,
I
the
think
bye
the
week
bye
for
week is
sure.
fair. It
Yeah,
gives him
if it's bad.
2 games against a Miami defense and a Patriots defense. Um,
The
and then
Miami
you
one
get a
sucks because
bye
it's going to
week.
be hard to analyze anything the way this weather looks. I'm not going to be able to throw
Yeah.
it. It's going to be awful. But
So maybe
yeah,
he gets another week because of that. But I just feel like at the bye week, they're going to have to evaluate some things.
sure. Yeah, especially if things keep going in the same trend line. I totally agree. I think the way I would put it is like I expect Shador, based on what we've seen so far, I expect Shador to get a chance to play this year. Right? I don't feel like Dylan is running away with it, and I don't feel like I've had any indication from these tapes that he's going to run away with. But I think at the same time, fair people evaluating this, and I'm just talking about even the people who are like staunch Shador lovers, should recognize the hindrances of this offense and understand that you will be talking about, if you're a blind Shador supporter, if he comes in and stinks, look how bad this offensive line is. Look who he's throwing to. Brother, we're saying the same things about Dylan Gabriel. So just like, let's give it a little time. Let's give him a few more starts. Let's see how it feels. If it's not working out across the next 3 games, yeah, there's still like 7 games left on the schedule after that Shador could find a way to start in. So I just,
Yeah. No,
it's just for me like I feel this is just me
it's
personally
fair.
that there's a lot of folks who want to believe Dylan's story is written after playing, I think, and from his head coach, a really unfair brand of offense and 2 really good defensive minds. And those 2 teams also have some pretty good defensive talent. So I'm just like, can we see him play some others? Can we balance that field out? And let's see what happens. If he's bad, guess who will tell you guys he's bad? I will tell you. Brad will tell
Yeah.
you. We'll tell you. But like,
Yeah.
just get a little sample size here before we I get it, man. I get if Shador comes in and saves the day and he's the hero everyone in the Shador fan club thinks he is, it'll be awesome. We'll all be so happy. They'll be winning ball games. It'll be really great. But I also don't think that that's going to stop. If Shador is this dude, does, maybe again, Dylan maybe has earned the opportunity to play in front of him because of the surrounding elements. It's possible. I know it's things you're not privy to and I'm not privy to. I do think if the Browns were watching an all-pro quarterback at practice every day, I think they would be playing them considering their jobs are on the line. I don't think it's like Kevin Stefanski walks home and sits down at the table. His wife's there. It's 1 a.m. Honey, what's going on? And he's like, listen, babe, I got a real paradox right now. Shador looks like young Joe Montana, but I just can't play him because I'm so set on Dylan Gabriel being this guy that I love. And she's like, well, that's going to cost you your job, Kevin. And he's like, so I got to do what I got to do. Like, we know how crazy that sounds? Like it's going to
It
work
sounds crazy to
out.
say out loud, Jake, but at the same time, like I don't know that many people that were this high on Dylan Gabriel when he got drafted. I didn't like the draft pick where it was. It felt like a reach then. Um, so to sit here and say that, like, yes, they have evaluated that Dylan is ahead of Shador, and that's where they have him. And we aren't
Can't
privy to
that
what's
just
going
be an
on behind.
evaluation without it being like, hey, we really got to prove ourselves right? Like,
Well,
are
that's what
you of
it
the
feels
belief?
like. But do you put that
Do
past the
we, I
Browns
just,
trying to prove themselves right? I feel like
I
they've done
kind
that
of think
before.
I kind of like, what's your example of that from before? That they've sacrificed an incredible talent to
Not
prove
an
themselves
I'm
right.
not saying that. This is we don't know what either are in any
Yeah.
way.
But that's the
At the NFL
insinuation with
level.
Dylan. Like the idea here is that Shador, who we just
I can
watched
give
in his
you a
last time where,
tremendous example of them
yeah,
doing it. They started Deshaun Watson for 9 weeks while he played historically bad football and did not give them the best chance to win. But they kept saying week after week after week, he gives us the best chance to win. He's going to be. They were trying to prove themselves right. They were trying to give their decision the full chance
So
when
if
it was
Jameis
clearly
was so
over.
good, if Jameis was so good, where's Jameis starting now?
I'm not saying that, but he was better than Deshaun. He was better than Deshaun.
He had 2 good games. I mean,
Was Deshaun not all-time historically bad?
I'm not here. You're putting me in a position to defend Deshaun Watson. I think it's bad and bad. I think they're both bad.
Okay.
I just think that there's like, okay, like I understand.
I think that running him out there at the level he was playing week after week without trying something different
but
was
that's also
insane.
a $230 million investment. That's a
You
different
asked me
thing.
for an example. I'm giving you one.
And I'm telling you that we can't
He had a better
third round
chance
pick
to
and a
win
fifth.
with Jameis. I think they had a better chance to win with Jameis, which I think he proved ultimately, even in the games he played.
Yeah.
They beat Baltimore. They were at least
he also
competent.
threw an interception that Kyle Hamilton dropped to lose that game. But no. I think listen,
he was at least competent enough to win a couple games.
You're right. Fine.
You can't,
that's fair.
if you're going to tell me that you think they were justified in starting Deshaun in those 9 games, that's insane to me.
But I think that's missing the what's the saying, the trees through the like this is not the same as investing in something so heavily. Like these guys, you can't. I guess what I'm getting at
it's on a much smaller scale, but you asked me for an example.
That is fine. That's fair. I get where you're coming from. You know, that's fair. I mean, probably people will be like, "Hey, man, you're missing that they tried to prove themselves wrong on Baker or right about Baker Mayfield and." Yeah, join the crew. So did 3 or 4 other teams, and every team that had a chance to sign him when he was a free agent that same offseason that he went to Tampa. I'm just like, these guys are desperate to win in the most serious way right now. And if at practice, and you and I were there, brother, we watched a lot of training camp, and I'm not saying things haven't changed since then. There's like a couple moments for Shedeur that were nice, but there's also a lot of the stuff that we saw in the Rams game, the vertical drifting and not processing things in time. And I'm just saying,
never said he's going to be the answer.
No, and I'm not insinuating you did. What I'm insinuating is that this is the belief out there that like we want to see Shedeur, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. We can do that.
I think it's fair to wait until the bye week.
But that's just like one more game for Dylan.
Okay,
that's just if
we're racing Sunday because of the weather, which may be the outcome.
That's what I'm mad about. Ultimately, we can't also have our Muni lot meetup, which we wanted to do with everybody, because the freaking weather's going to be ripping buses out of the parking lot. The wind gusts we're hearing about for this thing, it's insane. Yeah, I think. I think we're making much to do about nothing. I think this is like the Tyson Campbell and Newsom trade. Yes,
there's plenty of games left for Shedeur to play. Ultimately,
100%.
He could end up starting more. I mean, let's be fair.
Yeah,
I'm not like totally stoked to watch Dylan. This is where I was at when we were talking about this last night. I'm not excited to watch Dylan play much more football anymore. I've seen 2 weeks. You're right. They were bad circumstances, but he didn't really give me a lot to be like, all right. You know,
I just personally feel a little different about that, while also recognizing like he did miss some throws. There are times that I'd like to see him make a couple of efforts down the field too.
Yeah,
I think it's just going from Oregon to what Kevin is doing is a different entity.
Yeah, and I would just to make these proclamations after 2 NFL games. It really is.
And also to drop him back 58 times and use play action 5 times. Like,
I get that.
I just think that there's a world here where he gets a few more starts, and if they are stink city, and you and I are breaking it down on Tuesday next week, where we're like, hey man, these 4 opportunities to throw a go ball or a post or a deep dig, and he doesn't throw it, then we're going to be like, we're getting to the point. I just like to give guys some sample size. And I think trying to be fair around that is, while difficult, possible. And I just also am like, I understand that Shedeur is everyone's favorite who's going to jump at me in the comments or have something to say. I would love nothing more to see him come in and be the reincarnation of
Everybody would.
whoever you want,
I
big
don't
time
care
quarterback.
who it is. I don't care who it is or
It'd
how
be
tall
cool if
they
it
are or
was.
whatever.
Shador's got all the swagger. He's got all the
Yeah.
belief. Like, it would make the Browns an icon. I'm into it. I just can also step back and realize it's possible Dylan played better in the spots they wanted him to play better, handle the elements, and they're giving him a chance first. And if he continues on the pathway of going downhill, of not seeing it, of not being as precise, accurate as he needs to be, Shador will get his chance. And I can't wait for that. I'm excited for seeing what he is. I think that where I get to struggle city is like the people who are like, look at the Browns being so stupid. They're holding him back. They should cut him. They should trade him.
Well, that's
insanity. The whole NFL told you that they didn't want him. So now the Browns do want him, and they're trying to put him on a plan here to see and build him and help him grow. And then he eventually does get a chance to start. And you think the Browns are evil? I think the Browns are the one trying to screw him over? I just am like, I think he's going to play.
Crazy.
He's going to play this year. It's like a 95% chance he gets a real chance to start ball games. But I just don't think the Browns are evil for like, I just don't think the Browns are evil for their process and kind of like, okay, Dylan's a little ahead of him right now, but Dylan, now it's week 12 or 11 or whatever. And he's not playing as well as we hope. Let's see what Shador can do for a couple of weeks, 3, 4, 5 weeks. And then you give him a go and we'll see.
Much more pragmatic view at this, definitely. And probably the proper process and all of this. I think when me and Peter were talking about it last night, we were just kind of like, I don't know if I see a ceiling with Dylan where I'm like really totally stoked to dig in for like 4 more.
100%. I can't sit here and tell folks I see that either. I just would just do the Jake thing and step in and be like, hey, look at these defense. These defenses have been pretty good, but he's got to see some stuff. He's not seeing it, and he's not being precisely accurate. He's got to help himself, which you wrote about this week. Yeah. Help yourself, Dylan Gabriel. That'd be nice.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Because you also help the team. All right, enough of that. We did our daily quarterback dribble. Now we're off it.
Yeah, our little karate match we like to do. All right. I'm totally lost where we were.
We're going to show up like week 16 with Shador jerseys and our wrist up, and then we'll be good. Everybody will be happy. It'll be harmonious. See? Can't wait.
All right. Do you believe Kevin and AB are still a package deal, meaning they both have to go? Also, do you have faith that AB can make the right decision at quarterback as well as the next head coach if needed this offseason?
Tyson, that's a great question. I don't know. I don't know if I have trust in Kevin to prop up a quarterback, to bring up a guy who needs development. I've got questions about it. I think like if you watch a quarterback suffer through what Dylan suffered through last week, and you're like, I believe in this head coach to bring a quarterback along, like go look at the passing lines for Jackson Dart since he started.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? There was the times where he put Baker Mayfield out to dry with some ridiculous try. He did this with Flacco early in the year too. I'm just like nervous about that. As far as Andrew Berry goes, I mean, everybody in the league would have been after Deshaun Watson except for like 10 teams if there, wasn't the stigma hanging over. Some teams were too bad with the cap at the time. I think everybody who was legitimately into Watson would have went after him. But like, so it's hard to analyze whether to give you a fair answer of like Andrew Berry can't evaluate this stuff. I don't know that or not. I'm worried more about Kevin's development and taking care of that quarterback than I am anything else.
Yeah.
And so I hate that I feel that way, but I feel that way.
No, I feel that way too. I think that's totally fair. I think the question he wants to know though is like, could AB and company fire Kevin, and would you trust AB to hire your next coach, bring in your next quarterback?
They feel very connected at the hip.
Outcomes.
They feel very connected at the hip. The old school Jimmy stuff was like he get it. Both sides start playing the game, and some people wanted to read into that a little bit when Kevin talked about how surprised he was about them trading Joe Flacco. I don't know. I think these two are too even keeled to go after each other or play that game within the organization. So I feel like this is just me. I could be totally wrong on this, but my hunch is that they could keep one of them. I think there's a higher percentage chance that he keeps Andrew than Kevin if they're splitting them up.
That's where
That's
I'm
just
at.
a hunch. I'm a pure hunch on that. I don't have any intel on it. I'm not trying to tell you guys anything. That's how I feel it could go down if they don't want to totally rewrite everything. And how much trust do I have? I mean, we'll see.
Good
What other
draft this
but it's
year.
also, yeah, what other names are on the GM market at that point that we need to look
Right.
at? You know, there's like
You
you and I are
also-
interested in a coach and GM change happening here, but like
I
we're
don't want to force it for Mike
right.
McCarthy.
Right. No, I'm with
Please,
you.
no.
So I'm just back and forth on a little bit of this stuff where I'm like, let's just see who's also available and willing. Because that's something you learn is I had this conversation with a buddy of mine today who's a big Tampa guy. It's always kind of sucks because I remember like very vividly 4 years ago he was making fun of Baker Mayfield for all the stuff Mayfield did and
No,
goofies, and now they love him. We get these texts about like I just trust Baker to get the job, and I'm like, this is like I'm like living in the upside down. But they're arguing about like what the Browns' biggest issue is, and then we were talking through that, and I'm like, hey man, I like do this for a living, right? I've got a pretty good feel, I think, for what's going on. And it got to the point where it's like, well, what head coach is even going to come there? I'm like, well, there's 32 of these, and Jimmy's checks are usually pretty fat. So somebody's going to take the job.
No
and
doubt.
the point is like the buyout is James Franklin's walking that right now, man. They got to pay you. Whatever that you signed for, they got to pay you. So that's life-changing money.
Ultimately, you could pair the job with an elite or a very high quarterback pick as well.
100%. This can be sold. I don't know that they'll get the biggest name that's available, right? There's a lot of that can happen, but I don't think they're going to be hiring Freddie Kitchens again.
No.
No.
No. All right. That's a very good question, Tyson. Something that I think still has to be I used to feel like Kevin had a better chance to stay, and that has changed for me over like the last 2 years.
Yeah, I don't have a strong feeling on that. The way, like, if you listen to the Dolphins guest we had yesterday, they're so done with both of them that they don't care. More so, they just want to see Greer go because he's been around so long there. But they know the big decision maker on all this stuff, and they'll never let us know who really wanted Deshaun more than anybody.
Oh yeah,
that stuff. Who wanted Jed Wills more than anybody? They know that. So act accordingly, in my opinion.
That's well said. Chi-Town Brown. When Bill Callahan left, I believed he was worth 5 wins a year. Holy moly.
That's steep.
I think I underestimated this offensive collapse. Awfully coincides awfully closely with his departure. I mean, it's a very fair, to point that out. I would just say I was breaking down tape last year, 2 years ago, and being like, man, these guys can't handle pass offs in the game and the pass pro. There were cracks forming in 2023. Like you could see it. And it coincides with guys getting a little older, a little more hurt more often, bodies breaking down, Conklin missing time. Remember the tackle hell they were in 2023 and Batonio with the back injury. It just happens. Do I think that they had better run plans with him? Yes. I thought he was a good run game designer, and I thought he did a good job in game. There's no doubt Bill Callahan's better than who's in house, even though he's a protege, right? Bloomgren's a protege of Bill. I would love to have Bill back in advisor capacity or something like that. I know that Kevin talked about he spoke to Brian, but he hadn't talked to Bill since the firing situation. But like, yeah, man. I mean, I would be interested in bringing him back. I can't see him be like he's a 5 to 7 win position coach. I'm sorry, there's just not those guys out there. I wish there were. If there were, people would be paying millions of dollars for a 5-win position coach. I think he's good and could help swing it on a game or two scale. I'd be interested in that. He would help. He would no doubt help. So if they brought him back, I would be for it. But I'm not trying to mock you or question. I'm just like, that's steep, man. Like you got to think like a 5 to 7 win non coordinator. That's a lot. So no doubt he's valuable.
Yeah.
I don't know how to measure that in wins.
I don't either. But it also coincides with Nick Chubb's knee got destroyed, and
Yeah.
Your offensive line is getting older and all that stuff too. He had some good prime years of a lot of those guys, but also got some good results out of them. So I do think he would be better. Maybe 1 win share, maybe 2. Yeah, I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, it's so hard. It probably depends on a year. You probably have to take it on a year-to-year basis, and like
Mhm.
where could the differences have been made, and in what games would those differences have impacted the outcome. So you'd have to take a really narrow. It'd be an interesting deep dive to get like a war, like a wins above replacement on
Yeah.
coaches.
Yeah. It would probably be based on like player position rankings inside of a position group. Like Brown's offensive line has this over that. But then it's like, well, what is it talent gets the credit for? You know what I mean? It's tricky. I think it's what you're
Yeah.
trying to quantify is fun in theory, hard in reality. But also, we can all sit back and say, hey, man, like Bill Callahan's one of the best O line coaches to ever do it. So saying he wouldn't help is pretty silly.
Yeah.
So we recognize that. But also, 5 wins in a season, that's a lot.
Yeah. Very pointed question here from Andrew Pierce. What happens first? Kevin is let go or Shador starts at quarterback?
I think Shador starts at quarterback before Kevin's let go. I know a lot of people are like, "Hey, it's the fire game this weekend," and I guess if the Browns have a couple, like maybe they lose to the Dolphins 24-10, and
If it got
again the weather,
embarrassing.
yeah, the weather's so tricky with this weekend because it can just get so upside down. But like, yeah, you have a really rough next 3 weeks. It could, in theory, happen. But I think that they're going to give him a lot of the rest of the season, and I think Shador will start games for him.
Agreed. Mason Herman, am I crazy in thinking the Browns shouldn't draft a quarterback next year? I'm worried the offensive infrastructure is so bad that it'll ruin a rookie next year. Trade backs, spend a year fixing things, spend a full year developing Sanders, then draft someone if Sanders doesn't work out. If one of the college quarterback goes super
Supernova.
nova to end
The
this
R in the
year,
end in Supernova make it look like an M based on this
it
font,
does.
so it's
That's
like
what I thought it
Supermova.
said.
Yeah, that's
Super
funny.
MOBA. To end this year, and the Browns can draft them without trading up. Never mind.
Listen, my theory is like, I don't know what that never mind is in there for. That's funny. The internal monologue. If the Browns love one of these quarterbacks, just draft him. You don't know you can't guarantee what any class is going to bring at any moment. If you love them,
I
you
got to
take
take
them.
swings.
Yeah, Mendoza was the pick in the PFF today, and then they could have had Carnell Tate at 24. He was like the pick behind. They gave him Proctor, the Alabama tackle. I mean, I think it's tackle, wide receiver, and quarterback in the first 3 picks, some form or fashion. So I think you're picking one of. I mean, if you could come out of a draft with like Mendoza or Dante Moore and Carnell Tate, and then maybe move up a little bit and get the tackle that falls to the end of the first round or the top of the second, like that's a great outcome. That's a great
Yeah.
outcome. So I understand wanting to make the infrastructure better. You can do some of that via trade, some of that via free agency, and then like attack the draft aggressively and get the valuable position players you need, in my opinion, when you got the opportunity right here. So I'm just anti-pass on the quarterback because you're like, oh, I don't know if we got enough for it. This guy's great. He's going to be an MVP level player or just a really, really good quarterback. But we can't take him because we're not good enough around it. So maybe we'll swing next year and see if just take the quarterback, man. Figure it out.
Got to take your swings when you got opportunity to land that quarterback. I totally agree. Corey K, I'm extremely pumped about Harold Fannon's future. Should I be careful? Does his size limit his ceiling? Are there comparable players in the league with his size and skill? Pardon me. I also thought Harrison Bryant was going to be a Pro Bowler, so what do I know? Harrison Bryant was a good player. So
He was good, but Harrison Bryant doesn't have near the athleticism, the football athleticism that Harold does. I think Harold has got a chance to be a really nice player. He's tough after the catch and runs pretty clean routes. He's had a couple focus drops I haven't loved this year, but taking on a lot of responsibility early. The blocking isn't good yet, but he's still got a chance to get physically stronger and get bigger and handle that a little bit better. I think you should be excited about Harold Fannin. I know that there hasn't always been the right results, but I think you should be excited. I think he's going to be a good player. Is he going to be an elite player? I don't know, but he's got some of those traits you see guys who become really good. He's got some of those. So
He does.
I would feel like you should be excited about him, even if week to week it's been an uneven result, but that's what this offense is right now. It's one giant uneven result.
This next question from Becker Nezbala is your FanDuel question of the night.
What's your parlay tonight? Real quick, Brad. Give us the deets on that one. I want to know it. The people want to know it in case we hit, so we can say, hey, we hit it tomorrow. He's got it.
Here we go. It's been well crafted. I spent some time on this one. I don't think it'll be my only play, but this is the play. DK Metcalf over 64.5 receiving yards. Jalen Warren over 48.5 rushing yards. Noah Fant over 28.5 receiving yards. Gesicki's injured.
Yep.
Tanner Hudson's injured.
He's going to play a lot.
Fant's going to get a lot of looks. I also like him, FYI. If you're playing the FanDuel touchdown jackpot, I like him as a long shot for that.
Ooh.
DK Metcalf anytime. Chase Brown 10+ yards, alt line receiving yards. And Aaron Rodgers over 1.5 touchdown passes.
All right. If it hits, we got proof for you guys
There
on
it
tomorrow's
is.
show.
1,
There you
2.
go.
It's 6 legs. I'll probably do one that's like 4-2, but I think that it's possible that like DK could go for like 80 yards tonight against this defense.
A lot of man coverage they play over there. I can see that. I like it.
So I might go like a all line plus money with him and shorten that up. Take a chance that way as well.
There we go. I'm in on
All
it.
right. FanDuel question of the night. At what point do we send the private jet to Japan for Jed?
Oh my God. Why Japan? Is he in Japan? What's going on here?
But I love that.
Let's just say this: based on the tackle play, the jet is probably being filled as we speak.
Yeah.
That's where we're at, guys. That's where we're at.
We'll finish up here with Joseph Ewing regarding Stefanski. Did he used to have a set of answers but failed to adapt? It seems like this happens to some guys. They figure it out, get hired as a head coach, but once the league figures them out, they can't adjust and find the next set of answers. It seems so weird if it was able to figure it out before, now he can't just do it. The lack of diversity in the run game, lack of adjustments to O-line blocking, we've seen him be better before, right? Did he forget? ? Should he watch his own old tape? Great question.
It is, and we've talked about some of this. I would just reiterate that the league has adapted since he was at his best, and his talent has adapted since he's at his best. And I don't think he's been on the forefront of things confusing defenses in ways, eye manipulation, wide receiver blocking variations, tight end motion variation. I don't think he's been on the forefront of that in the way that springs things open. And I continue to feel pretty firmly that if you have accomplished talent, if you have a set of guys who are developed, he's probably going to be an okay offense coach for you. I think he can do it. If it's guys that they have to bring along, if guys they have to be meticulous, it's guys that they've got to get from A to B developmentally. I'm worried about that, especially at quarterback for him. And it would feel like things have started to move by him with the league's evolution. Defense is catching up, and I don't feel like week to week he's done a good enough job of solving what defenses are throwing at him and his team. And I feel like it's a lot of, we're going to run these plays because this is who we are and what I have done, unless we're doing these plays because the defense likes to do this, or the defense has a weakness there, or their indicator is this, so we're going to mess with them on the indicator and go away from that. That's the stuff I don't see. Like, I am watching opposing OCs take guards and manipulate the linebackers all the time, and the Browns are never doing that, and it's driving me nuts. And when I'm watching tape of opposing offenses with guys who have been considered like Arthur Smith, cast-offs, schemes that make me frustrated that the Browns can't apply them to their own world, the chicken's cooked, or whatever the phrase is, man. Like we are way too far off the beaten path here. And that's where I'm concerned with Kevin. It doesn't feel harmonious. The game plan doesn't make sense to me. And I'm left scratching my head too often.
And now we're beginning to question like what he's getting out of his players a little bit.
Yep.
Like the whole ass kicker thing has really stuck with me. Like, why can't he get that outcome from his players?
I
need
totally
to see
agree.
that buy-in this weekend. So
we'll be there. That's it for today. I will put the rest of the questions for tomorrow in the opening drive. I'll do the special teams analysis. I always do. We'll get the rest of these questions. Some came in late. I'll get to all of them that I come across between now and tomorrow morning. So keep your eye out for that. Brad and I will record and have ready to go your Saturday college football preview. So keep your eye out for that, including some of our thoughts around the league. And then, because obviously we'll have updates from practice and all that stuff. And then finally, we'll have your game day edition on Sunday. And then we'll be somewhere. We'll let you know where we settle in. Probably try to find some indoor bar or something to settle in, to still go to the game, but a spot maybe less outdoors for the pregame. Keep you posted on that. Promise you that much. Thanks for stopping by and appreciating this podcast. Thanks for reading the content we're putting up and continuing to make this the best Browns community you can find online. I believe in that. We're growing at a rapid pace, and that's because of you guys. So thanks again. Follow us on all the socials. Make sure you're on YouTube. Subscribe to that as well. And then giving us those 5 stars on podcast reviews to keep more Browns fans like yourself finding us. Thanks again to Monfredi Dental. Thanks again to FanDuel Sportsbook. That's it for Jake and Brad. We will catch you tomorrow. And until then, go Browns.